Okay, 2 hours. I just spent 2 hours redoing my whole drum set because I added that drum. I have 10-inch, 12-inch tom, and a couple days ago I finally got my 13-inch tom. But I brought my stuff with me so we can do a Daily Hawk news update from the practice space and with my drum set. Okay, the Trump administration is struggling with their mass deportation plan. And in fact, that reminds me of a statistic that I read the other day. In November of 2024, the Biden administration arrested 21,000 undocumented immigrants. During Trump's first month, he's only arrested 14,000 undocumented immigrants. With all of the resources that he's been put, this was his number one thing, mass deportations. He's only getting about 65% of what Biden got when it wasn't even Biden's focus. But there's that, you know. Customs enforcement is struggling to arrest higher numbers of immigrants and falling short of the administration's goals. So we'll see some people get fired this week. Donald Trump's media company, Truth Social, lost $400 million last year. Its annual revenue declined 12% to $3.6 million. They only had revenue. That's not even income. Revenue of $3.6 million. So if you're still holding on to that stock, you're a sucker. Okay, here's a news story that I think is going to spark some discussion. Starting last Thursday, 15,000 IRS employees have been identified for termination, and that's going on right now. They're primarily in the enforcement and collection departments. 15,000 IRS agents that are responsible for enforcing and collecting taxes from people. It's always been a weird thing to me with these billionaire chuckleheads who focus on the IRS because they don't pay taxes. I read something last week that Tesla has paid zero income taxes over the last 6 years against billions and billions and billions of dollars of revenue. They pay no taxes. I don't know why they hate the IRS, but, you know. And Donald Trump is doing that at a time when there are tens of millions of us who are looking for a tangible way to protest this government. And if you're going to take away 15,000 people who are going to enforce that we pay our taxes and aggressively collect our taxes, 15,000 people of those people are getting fired, and we're 2 months away from tax day? I don't know. Maybe a form of protest would be for all of us to just stop paying our taxes. That's a thought, you know. I'm just saying. That seems like a worthwhile form of protest to me. Hawk, your host. Hope everybody's having a great Sunday. I am, because did I tell you I got a new drum? It sounds fucking amazing too. Senator Mark Warner, Democrat from Virginia, was discussing the Democratic Party's struggles in the wake of its, now this is reported by Politico, in the wake of its crushing losses in the last election. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Kamala Harris lost the popular vote by 1.4%. Republicans lost seats in the House of Representatives. They have a 217 to 215 margin right now. And that reminds me, 3 special elections. Go follow ZEE. I will tag her below. She's got an action plan for the 2 special elections coming up in Florida. In the week since my brother and I got involved and brought a whole slew of other TikTok creators in, they've raised $200,000 to register new voters. They've got 2 weeks left to do that. Please follow Z below. The only area where Republicans, I think, can say that they, did really, really well in the last election is in the Senate. They flipped the Senate and they have a 3-seat majority, 53 to 47. But crushing losses, maybe crushing emotionally, but Trump does not have a mandate by any stretch of the imagination. That's bullshit. Anyway, said Mark Warner, I think the Democrats' brand is really bad, and I think this was an election based on culture. He's correct. And the Democrats' kind of failure to connect on a cultural basis with a wide swath of Americans is hugely problematic. That is also correct. Two observations that I have about the election. When Kamala Harris appeared on The View and they asked her point blank, what would you have done differently than Joe Biden over the last 4 years? And she said nothing. I wouldn't have done anything differently. Biden's approval rating was in the 30s. If there was nothing that needed to be changed, Biden would have stayed in the race, even with his condition. That was horrific. And as far as the culture war stuff goes, with Trump and the right-wing media, and, Donald Trump would not have spent $150 million on anti-trans ads if they didn't work, and they did. I remember, must have been in September. My brother was over, we were watching a college football game, and that ad came on. First of all, I was surprised that I was seeing it in California, which told me that it was being broadcast nationwide. Second, I watched that ad and I thought about all the people that I know where I grew up in Ohio. And my heart sank for 2 reasons. One, Kamala Harris and her campaign never responded to that ad at all. Did not respond to it at all. Nothing. Second, I saw that ad and I was thinking about the people that I knew in Ohio, and I was like, that ad is going to work. And I'm like, she's fucked. So Mark Warner's correct on that. And it's not entirely relevant to me whether or not you agree with that. So with all the stuff that's going on with immigration, this next move confused me. This happened on Friday, as reported by Politico. The Trump administration has fired a slew of immigration judges as part of the sweeping moves to cut thousands of government workers. I think that's just another indicator that this administration has absolutely no intention of following the law, observing the law, or working within the law to get their priorities done. You don't fix immigration by firing all of the immigration judges who are hearing the immigration cases. So there's that. Yesterday, we'll close it out with a discussion of this. Donald Trump posted on Twitter, "He who saves his country does not violate any law." That is straight up authoritarianism. It's a quote that's often attributed to Napoleon. I haven't been able to figure out if he was the first person to say it or the only person to say it, or if he actually did say it. But I'm seeing a lot of reports of that. And Napoleon was exiled. So I'm hoping maybe we can get to the exile part here pretty quickly and just exile Donald Trump. Hey, I know a place where Trump has probably been before. How about we exile Donald Trump to Epstein Island? This quote from him sparked a lot of responses and reaction. MSNBC's Chris Hayes posted a 3-word response in French, which, that's one of the things I love about Chris Hayes. He's just fucking smart, man. He is smart, and he's probably, to me, the most thoughtful person on cable news right now. Because I love watching him, and you can just see the thinking taking place as he's interviewing somebody. It's great. I'm going to butcher this pronouncement. L'état c'est moi, which translates to, I am the state. Yeah. Jamel Bowie, one of my favorite writers, columnist for the New York Times, said, "This is the single most un-American and anti-constitutional statement ever uttered by any American president." He's accurate on that. That is accurate. Writer Bill Corbett said, "Trump making an excellent argument for his own assassination. Good one, dummy." Bill Kristol wrote, "We are getting into real German territory here." He wrote a word in German which starts with Führerprinzip. I don't know what that means, but I know what Führer means. I think we all know what that means. Tech writer Matt Novak chimed in with dude who's quoting Napoleon now. And he asked the same question I did. When do we get to the exile portion of the Napoleon timeline? Great minds. There we go. Leah McElrath, a writer and political commentator, asked, "Has Trump ever paraphrased Napoleon before, or is this an Elon Musk thing?" Yeah. Other people said this is profoundly disturbing. And there's a lot of criticism. There's all kinds of criticism on that. Bill Kristol also chimed in with, "It's better in the original German." David Frum wrote, "No kidding. This is a line of a screenplay from a 1970 movie funded by the Russian government. Some things never change." Somebody else wrote, "I know many conservatives still care about the Constitution, but this is genuinely depressing that the leader of the Republican Party is someone who is openly okay with violating the rule of law as long as it serves his political ends. That's bad." Yes, it is. That is bad. Angry Staffer wrote on Twitter, said, "Yes, this is some weird shit, and he is getting ready to do something really fucking illegal." I think that's accurate as well. From the UK, we get, "Trump is not simply breaking domestic and international law. He is boasting about it openly. He no longer even pretends to hide his contempt for the rule of law. And Midas Touch closes it out with very fashy, which means very fascistic." Corporate America is already souring on Donald Trump, said one Wall Street insider. "With hindsight, we did not appreciate the nature of what the administration was going to be like. I do believe they are hurting their stated objectives of peace and prosperity." You think? Fuck that guy and fuck Wall Street. Okay, now let's close it out with this. Comedian Bill Burr declares that fucking billionaires should be put down like rabid fucking dogs. Which demonstrates Bill has his own podcast. It's like he does it on Mondays and Thursdays. He doesn't have guests. He just like rants for 2 hours. It's a great podcast because Bill Burr is also self-employed. Bill Burr has fuck you money, and Bill Burr often gets on his podcast and says things like this: "Fuck you, billionaires. You should be put down like rabid dogs." I enjoy this. The amount of people struggling out there because of these fucking billionaires, and they got us all arguing liberal versus conservative. We got to stop doing that. I'm so tired of hearing about people going to bed worried about what's going to happen next week. He said it's bad for the country that people with full-time jobs and still can't afford their rent. Taking on a second job, he argued, only means that parents spend less time with their kids, creating a whole new set of issues. And he said they need to be put down like fucking rabid dogs. And I just think that that's something that we can all get on board with. Anyway, that's my cool drum set. It's done now, I think. I may add some more to it. No, I'm not. I mean, I got rid of my last one because it was too big, and that one was 9 pieces, and this one's already 8. What are you going to do? Anyhow, I hope everybody has an absolutely amazing Sunday. Thank you for tuning in to today's Daily Hawk with Hawk's Drums. Have a good Sunday, everybody. Be safe.